Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Monday edition of the Orange and Brown Talk podcast, the Hey Mary Kay edition of the podcast. Dan Labbe with Mary Kay Cabot. Our Football Insider subscribers sent us questions, as they always do, for these podcasts. Mary Kay, let's get right to it. Folks, still thinking about the draft, and I thought this was going to be an interesting question to start with. This has to do with Andrew Berry and kind of judging his drafts and how we best judge them moving forward. And somebody wants to look back, and that is Scott Mandel from Los Angeles. Hey, Mary Kay, since it's impossible to judge this draft for a few years, let's look back a bit. It should be time to judge Andrew Berry's earlier drafts. How would you each judge Andrew Berry's first two drafts today?
Well, first of all, I think the jury is still out in a lot of cases. But when you start to look at the 2020 draft, I think you can start to get a pretty good handle on what went on in the 2020 draft. And, you look at Jed Wills Jr., they just picked up his fifth-year option. But certainly, he has not risen to the level of a Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs has made the All-Pro. He's made the Pro Bowl twice. He was selected two or three spots after Jed Wills, who was number 10 overall in that draft. And, it's just, it's tough to look at and see how good Tristan Wirfs is and how he panned out. Now, you do have to qualify it a little bit because he has been starting at right tackle, which traditionally has been the easier side. But as we keep hearing from the powers that be, it's really not that different anymore to be right tackle or left tackle. It's equally difficult to hold off these edge rushers because they switch them up and they try to find the most favorable matchups. But certainly you would have wanted your number 10 overall pick to have made one Pro Bowl by now. He was set back by an ankle injury 2 seasons ago, so we're going to give him a little bit of a pass for that. Grant Delpit, second-round pick, ruptured his Achilles. That was an enormous setback for him. The 2 third-round picks, Jacob Phillips, tons of injuries in his first couple of seasons, and Jordan Elliott still coming up the learning curve. So, it's one of those situations where you got 2 starters and potentially 2 other major contributors or starters out of that draft. So I think the jury is still out a little bit, but you would have liked for the number 10 overall pick to have been trending towards at least a Pro Bowl by now.
Yeah, I think with the first 2 drafts in particular, I kind of look at it like, I guess I wish we were more sure about a few of the players, and I still kind of like a number of them, but I wish we were more sure about Jed Wills as like your left tackle of the future. And with Grant Delpit, things are trending in the right direction, but we still don't know for certain. And then you go and look at those second round picks or the picks the next year, right? Greg Newsome, there's some signs there that he could be really good, but still not 100% sure what his role is, what his long-term outlook is. And with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, it's just really been injuries. I feel like with a lot of these guys, we just still don't have answers yet. And I don't know if we can necessarily give a final grade on those first 2 drafts.
You really can't, because here's the thing about Andrew Berry's drafts that everyone needs to remember. They really skew towards young. I mean, they get these guys as young as they possibly can. And in some cases, they are not ready to play in the NFL. But that is by design. This is their farm system. This is their pipeline. They're building for the future. So while they're acquiring, free agents and making trades for the now, they're drafting for 2 years down the road and 3 years down the road. So you cannot judge an Andrew Berry draft in the same way that you might be able to judge someone else's draft that is drafting more so for the present.
I mean, just look at a guy like Greg Newsome, who came into the league in 2021, and I'm pulling up his age right now. He's 22. He's as old as Siaki Ika is right now. I wish it were Siaki Aki. It would be a lot more fun to say. But Siaki Ika, he's the same age as him. So Andrew Berry does want to take young players so that you can kind of maximize that potential and kind of maximize that window, especially if a guy does get really good and you end up paying a big contract. That big contract is right in those prime years.
Yeah, and I figured out who it was who I had